All right, again, good morning, everybody. It's Friday morning. I stopped talking about dates after Sunshine corrected me last week on what day it is. I was like, on Wednesday, I'm like, oh, it's July 11th or something like that? No, not yet. Cruising along. Like I just said, we are in a strength series right now. And of course, those are all based on the tools we have. And of course, this whole 17 weeks has been geared towards strength. But we had the Wednesday was chest with things, today back with things, Monday shoulders, next Wednesday buys and tries. So formally trying to be a little more muscle focused. Again, we've been kind of doing that the whole time too. But that's a little more of a strength phase. Today's warm up you're gonna love, and so I appreciate most of you guys have your video here on Talking Rangeside. We're gonna do a 5-minute wall sit challenge to get started. We did this on workout number 11. Just a couple weeks ago, right? So we're gonna do a 5-minute wall sit challenge. During your 5-minute wall sit challenge, if you can stay there the whole time, both of my toms, awesome, congratulations. Stay on your wall, sit the whole time. If you cannot stay on your wall, sit the whole time, get off the wall and do any stationary leg for 10 reps. You can do any squat, you can do any lunge, you can do your stiff-legged deadlift, you can do anything but 10 reps and then get back on the wall. It is 5 minutes. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm talking to you, Katie. Are you ready? Emily, good morning. We're on the wall for 5 minutes. Ready, set, and go. Now, I just talked about it. I would like you to stay on the wall. It's a challenge. I know I'm not going to be able to stay on the wall the whole time. Wall sits and I have never really gotten along. I've gotten a lot better at them over the last 17 weeks, believe it or not. And we actually haven't done them a lot. We have done them, but I think just by doing them, I've been getting better at them. So, and I grew up doing this stuff. I just always did leg presses and lunges and squats and deadlifts and those things. So, your isometric wall sit. There's some education as we can talk about this stuff. A non-moving contraction is the second greatest force you put on a muscle. Currently I have my body weight. You can always hold on to weight and make yourself heavier. So as an isometric contraction, it's the second greatest force you put on a muscle. We've done wall sits. You can have a regular wall sit like a regular squat, your feet are shoulder width. You can have a wide wall sit. You can have a narrow wall sit. You can mix in doing calves, whether you do them isometrically, keeping your heels up. You could do them concentrically, which is a movement exercise. And again, throughout the 17 weeks, I tried to educate you as much as possible. Eccentric contractions we really can't do formally, but every motion has an eccentric phase, which is the downward lengthening phase, like stiff-leggeds and the pulling of lat pullovers. Those have a longer lengthening phase. Anyhow, isometric contractions, which is this. Later on, we're going to do some plyometrics, load impact. So that'll be a 3-minute time circuit later on. We have back, we have some abs, we have some quads and hamstrings differently than what we normally do. You can always revert back to normal. I like it. Again, if you ever have to get off the wall, do something for 10 reps and then get back on the wall. I will be hopping off here soon as I will be failing pretty quickly. This is also the 3rd time I've done this since Wednesday. That's not bragging. I just, whew. And of course we are halfway there in 3, 2, 1. Keep going if you can. I'm just gonna pop off the wall and do 10 squats. There's a concentric contraction, a moving contraction, technically less force on a muscle, which is why you can add more load to create that load. An eccentric contraction is normally, if you do it right, you would need a workout partner or a trainer, spotter, and you have something really heavy, and it's 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. It's at least 5 seconds, and that's the downward phase. And then somebody helps you get back up. So that's why our concentric contractions when we do our stuff is always 2.5 to 3 seconds. That's a concentric exercise. Eccentric contractions are 5 seconds or more, and isometric contractions normally need to be at least 10 seconds. The non-moving contraction, blah, blah, blah. You guys are like, it's 6 a.m., Chris. Zip it. Well, I gotta give you guys something to think about. Anything for 10 can be done if you get off the wall. I want you back on the wall as much as possible. So when I say these 5-minute challenges, it's how much of the 5 minutes is wall sitting and how much of it is not wall sitting. So I never want you to stop your timer. Now for those people that do this on the YouTube on demand version, they can pause their recording, but they can't pause the timer. We only have 35 seconds, so that dictates staying on the wall or getting off the wall. You are 27 seconds away from being done. So we did this 5-minute wall sit challenge on week 11. Now, whether that gives you a measurable or not, when you start working off with a 5-minute wall sit challenge, maybe you feel it, maybe you don't. 10 seconds. Back in the day, I probably would have been off the wall a little earlier and then a little more often. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Ah, good morning. Hello, everybody. All right, we're going to be on the ground from abs. We will do these abs again at the end of our workout. So if you start running out of time, just make sure these abs happen again later on. We have our 5 different 10-10 combos. We have done it before. Now, I don't need the perfect abs we did 2 weeks ago, but you still have the same rules. Don't create momentum. Think about the vertical motion of the exercise and make sure your abs are doing the work. 10 legs straight down, sit-ups. Only 10, and then 10 legs straight, arms straight, sit-up scissors. So we have 5 different 10-10 combos, meaning we have 5 20-rep parts. And for those of you that do math, that's 100 abs and core. Remember, when I say abs, this is a concentric ab exercise. And when I say core, it's normally an isometric and or slower moving weight displacing exercise. Blah, 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 blah. After your 10 sit-ups, you have 10 scissors. Now you can do them big sit-up version. You can do them little, but they're still good. I just don't want the little quickie scissors. I want good motion on your scissors. So 10 legs straight down sit-ups, 10 more scissors. Then I want to take a little break, right? We're not going to go crazy fast. We're then going to have our legs up, 10 toe touches. Don't do these quickly, even though they are smaller. And then you're going to do your 10 runners. So legs up, toe touches, and then body moving runners. 10 on both. Remember, if you slow things down, don't create momentum, think about the vertical components of the exercise, you should already be burning. If you are not thinking about those things, you might just be moving and creating momentum. That is not the idea. However, you are all well trained and you're used to this stuff, so maybe it's not as hard as we want it to be. Combo number 3. Reverse crunches. Both legs are moving on your reverse crunches, and then you'll lay on your stomach or be on your hands and knees for your swimmers. 10 reverse crunches and 10 swimmers. Breathe. Focus. breathe, focus, lengthen, contract. There's that eccentric phase. Now it's just a phase versus it being an eccentric exercise. So those are two different things. Elongating the muscle is an eccentric motion. And again, swimmers, either on your hands and knees or laying on your stomach. We've talked about that many times. Mobility of spine, activation of muscles around your spine. You can get more contraction if you're laying on your stomach. You do get more motion when you're on your hands and knees. They're both called prone swimmers. One is on your fours and one is on your stomach, and that's mostly comfortability and overall desire. Combo number 4 is our famous V-ups. V as in victory. And remember, if you can't do V-ups, you can repeat reverse crunches or sit-ups. 10 V-ups, and then you're going to have your 10 Russian twists. I have been talking about V-ups lately. They are known as the harder ab. I'm not going to say it's your better ab. They're harder because of mobility of hips and spine. You got your balance and coordination. Then, of course, you have your flexibility of your posterior muscles, and you have your activation of your anterior muscles. So V-ups are harder. They're a good gauge of fitness and strength levels, and that's based on mobility of hips and spine, flexibility of your posterior muscles, and activation of your anterior muscles. After your 10 V-ups, you're on your 10 Russian twists, whether it's weighted or not. This is more of a core exercise. Yes, you are isometrically contracting your abs, but then you have that isometric position, and you have rotation, and you're displacing weight. That is a core exercise. So when people say core, I give them Russian twists, and I give them planks. And like, no, but I want to do my abs. Okay, those are two different things. The last one is your Supermans laying on your stomach, and then you're going to be either rotational planks or windshield wipers. Supermans is the everything up. Even though it is mobility of hips and spine, I want you to think a little bit more muscles are possible. So you do get more contraction. So I want you to think about a strength exercise on Supermans versus a mobility activation exercise on swimmers. Windshield wipers or rotational planks, 10 reps. We have the 5-minute isometric quad leg start. Maybe you mixed in some concentric movements. We had these 100 abs. We will repeat them later on at the end of the workout. We have back and quads coming up. We'll have 3 minutes of plyometrics. We'll have back and hamstrings, and then we'll do those abs again. So today's a do it kind of a day. And good morning, Harini. I see you got in here a couple minutes ago. Good work. So I want to show you, we're not going to start with the quad exercise, but I want to show you the isometric quads, which we briefly touched on 2 weeks ago. And they shoulda, coulda, woulda been happening earlier on online. However, it's the body position. And when I give exercises, I never want people to be deterred, because then it could be a spiral of not wanting to do this stuff. It's also why I haven't had people get really creative tools, because if people feel like they can't do something, then they're not going to do it. So here is an isometric quad position. I'm going to show it to you on the ground. You do get a little bit more motion when you're seated on something, so I will show you that one as well. You're in a V-up position, whether you want to hold yourself, you want to hold the ground, or you want to hold your legs. You stay there, and then all you do is bend and straighten your legs. That is a quad exercise, but yes, there is abs and core. Remember, you will get a little bit more motion. You'll need more balance, as you saw, on a seated position. But that's a quad exercise. If you do not want to do it, feel free to do narrow squats. Don't go yet, Tom. So if you don't want to do it, you can do narrow squats or stationary forward lunges. You can repeat the things we normally do, but I would challenge you to try them. If you have ankle weights, put some ankle weights on. They will be significantly harder. However, when you're ready, we're going to start with our trap rows. Our trap rows, whether you're going to do a dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, if you're going to do a TRX, you're going to be in a different position, but I want rows, and we're going to go 30 down by 5, which we have done before. So 30 trap rows, and then you're going to do 20 quads. Now I don't mind just separating a little bit on this circuit. Your trap rows are 30 down by 5, and your quads are always 20. You have 5 sets of 20 quads, and again, there's your 100 quads. If you do want to, go and do your 30, please. Do your 30 trap rows slowly. If you do want to mix in what we quote-unquote normally do, narrow squats and stationary forward lunges, feel free. However, isometric quads, the focus on that is the isometric core with a quad exercise. The position is why we haven't done it. 30 trap rows. You know, for me, that's like a minute and a half. So since Brian's done already, he's going to do burpees until everybody else gets done. 30 trap rows takes a little while, right, Malia? We're going to just, everybody pause. We're going to watch Brian do some burpees. I'm kidding you, Brian. He is doing burpees, though. I'm going to start with the floor version. Remember, you can be on the floor or seated. You do get a little more motion sitting on something off the ground. However, there's a lot more balance. V-up position. You can hold nothing. You can hold your legs up. You can hold what you're sitting on. And there's your quad exercise. So it would be easier sitting like I am sitting. I'm keeping my legs up. You have several components. And you guys, it's always 20 quads. You have the balance component. You have the position of that V-up that a lot of people don't like to have. You are lengthening your posterior muscles. So you're going to lengthen your hamstrings and your back and your butt. So they are going to resist the exercise. And you have that anterior activation between your core, your abs, and your quads. This is not a quad exercise. That is a quad exercise. So again, we haven't done it because of the position. Alrighty, round 1. And now I don't want you guys going faster, but now I want you to go at your own pace. 25 rows, 20 quads. 20 rows, 20 quads. 15 rows, 20 quads. So Brian, you don't have to do burpees unless you get done with the circuit quicker than everybody else. Your rows are 30 down by 5. That's going to be 105 total reps. Maybe there's some weight changes. Maybe there isn't. Your quad position, I want you to mix it up. I want you to challenge the balance of the exercise. If you have ankle weights and you didn't use them round 1, put them on. I would love to hear the difference. There is a staggering difference with just any weight on your ankles. You could do seated quad machine. You could have 100 pounds on there, and then you put 5-pound ankle weights on. Now, it won't be as heavy, but it's a harder exercise. Isometric quads. I am now sitting on something. You could work on your balance. You could help keep your legs up. You can hold on to what you're sitting on. but I do want your quads. That is the focus. This is a single joint quad exercise. Only my knees are bending and straightening, flexing and extending. You can't contract a joint, you contract your quads. So when you say flexion and extension, you're talking about your joints. When you say contraction, you're referring to your muscles. 20 iso quads. Again, if you have ankle weights, I would love it if you tried wearing them. You don't have to. So, this is a simple circuit. We only have 2 exercises to think about. Your rows, round 3 is 20. Your rows are 30 down by 5. Maybe there are weight changes. Maybe there's position changes. Either way, it's a good middle back exercise in combination with an isometric core quad exercise. Simple circuits by definition means you're only doing 2 exercises. It doesn't mean they can't be mentally challenging or you can't diversify the exercise like we've done so many times. But they are simple because you kind of only have to think about 2 things. Always 20 quads, iso quads. And again, people are like, oh, why haven't we done this before? It's the position. If you are on the ground, it's going to feel easier. If you're sitting on something, it's going to feel harder. You can not think about the balance and hold what you're sitting on. You can add balance and keep your legs up with your hands. And then you can also not hold anything. And you got your abs, core, and your quads. So there's many ways to advance the position. But I want your quads. And I want your isometric core position. Good. Straighten those legs, straighten those legs. All you have to do is straighten those legs. They're going to bend on their own. You got to straighten your legs. That is a quad exercise. So you're cruising along. 30 rows, 20 quads. Way done. 25 rows, 20 quads. Probably done. 20 rows, 20 quads. Hopefully done. Round 4, if you are ready, is 15 rows, 20 quads. Then you'll do 10 rows, and then your last 20 quads. And then you have 5 rows, and then we're on to our 3 minutes of plyometrics. So 15 rows, 20 quads. When I say go at your own pace, this is definitely a circuit. You gotta think about your muscles. You could go quickly and already be done, and then you're gonna do burpees until everybody else gets done. So you might as well slow it down and think about those muscles. See, Katie, you weren't the only one I yell at for going too fast. She was doing 3 p.m. and found out she was always picked on. So I told her she'd be picked on less if she went to the 6 a.m. class. ISO is a position referring to isometric, non-moving contraction. Well, that's referring to your abs and core. So there's the isometric position. If you don't want to work on balance, hold what you're sitting on. If you need help with your legs staying up, hold them up. And then, of course, all you have to do is bend and straighten your legs. But really, you need to straighten your legs, Tom. Both Toms, straighten those legs. You are lengthening your posterior muscles. Your hamstrings and your back and your butt are going to resist the motion. Okay? And then it's a quad exercise. If you are there, round 5 is your 10 rows and your last quads. And then you're going to do 5 rows. And then we're going to go to our 3 minutes of plyometrics. So we have a 5-minute start. We have a 3-minute middle. We'll then get a different back with our hamstrings. And then we're going to finish off with those same abs we did earlier. So definitely a lot of work. I tried to eliminate choices with this, but if you didn't want to do the iso quads, you would do other quad exercises. Nice and slow. Straighten your legs. If you don't feel that stretch in your hamstrings, I promise you, you haven't straightened your legs far enough. You will feel your hamstrings resisting that motion. You might feel your back and your butt resisting the motion and the position. I want your quads. And again, if you didn't have ankle weights, cool, but they would have been drastically different. Of course, if you're here at the gym, you would have the quad machine. And behind the quad machine is our cable rows. Next to our quad machine is our plate machine rows. So there's many ways of getting this circuit done. You've got your 5 rows when you are done with those last quads. That was 100 on the iso quads. You have the 105 trap rows. Similar numbers to what we did on Wednesday. I added one more round on the trap rows because those are really good muscles for your posture. All right, our 3 minutes of plyometrics. Now, we always have choices. I train a very diverse population. You can do jump squats. There's the plyometric load impact power. You got split jumps, load impact power. You have pulsating squats, a little less power, you still maintain load, you don't have impact. Split squats, I do want a little bit more motion than the pulsating squats. You have 3 minutes of work to do. Did I say do 1,000 reps, Harini? No, I did not say I want 1,000 reps. I want 3 minutes of work. Ready, set, go. You've got jump squats. You are creating power. So you squat, you jump, you squat. You're always squatting, you're always jumping. Load, impact, power. Well, guess what? We had a 5-minute isometric start, and you just did 100 quads. You're gonna feel those. Split jumps, load, impact, power. It's basically a stationary reverse lunge with a hop. Plyometric load impact. You create power. Split squats. It's going to slow things down a little bit. You still maintain load. You decrease power. You decrease impact. All of these things are really good. You got 3 minutes of work. Now, I don't want you to diversify as quickly as I am diversifying, but feel free to diversify as much as I am diversifying, because I want you to mix them up as you need to. Thinking plyometrics. So when somebody says they're doing plyometrics, they are creating power, they are having impact, but you also have to have the load. When somebody says they're doing isometrics, they're doing a non-moving contraction, planks and wall sits. You could walk around with an isometric bicep. You know, we don't do those things very much, but you can. And of course, any concentric exercise is any moving exercise that you're so used to. Minute 15. Minute 15, that's all you have to do. Heart rate went up a little bit. Burn went up a little bit. Working hard. Went up a lot of bit. Breathe. Focus. Power. Breathe. Focus. Create power. Plyometrics. Load. Impact. Yes. Yes. Come on. Now again, I'm just diversifying so you see everything. I don't mind if you diversify so you don't stop moving. Woo! I hope you guys are burning. I hope you guys are burning. 25 seconds to go. Oh my goodness, my quads are just shot. Whew. Yeah. Yeah. Don't stop. Do not stop. 13 seconds. Yeah, oh my gosh, this is the third time I do it. I got one more of these to go today. Oh my gosh. And relax. And relax. Oh my goodness. Quads, heart rate, burn. Tom New Orleans like, dude, whatever. Tom, I'll see you at 9 a.m. Do it again with me. All right, here we go. Lat pullovers. Whether you lay on the ground, whether you lay on a bench, whether you lay on a ball, is your lat pullover position. Like the other day, our chest flies pulling, our lat pullovers pulling, always a rep range of 10 to 12 reps, which really isn't that many reps. So you better slow it down and you better lengthen your lats. 10 to 12 is your rep range. Here we go. 10 to 12 lat pullovers. Reach as far as you can reach. I don't want your arms perfectly straight by any means, but I want you to lengthen your lats to the best of your ability. It's always a rep range of 10 to 12. So it will be less total reps than our trap rows. It's a way longer motion. It won't take as long because it's always 10 to 12 reps. But 5 sets later, always 10 to 12 reps. And I really want you to slow it down and make it big on your lat pullovers, which we have done so many times. I do want to start talking about hamstrings as you guys finish off the first set. I formally want hamstrings, which is the opposite of your quads, so it's the opposite motion. Now, I have a medicine ball, not very heavy. You might not have a ball. You might have a stability ball, which I have a stability ball. You might need to take off your shoes and have your socks. I'm going to show you the motion. You might need to grab something that can slide. If you cannot do these, you can do wide squats or stiff-legged deadlifts. But here's the motion. Whether you have something or not, your butt stays up like your hip bridge, but then you're going to keep your butt up and you're going to bend and straighten your legs. That's the hard part. Remember, I haven't done these because it takes creativity of tools and the position is hard. So you either have something to slide with, plastic, your socks, a towel on a hardwood floor, you have a ball, but your butt stays up. There's your hip bridge, and then you bend and straighten your legs. Always 20 reps, just like your quads. But like our isometric quads, it's the position and the tools required, which is why I haven't done them very much. Probably could have done them earlier in the series, but I really wanted to build trust on all those other exercises. So maybe a little bit late to the party, but we're still at the party. And Tom, that's good. You can do wide squats, or you can do stiff-legged deadlifts, or you can always do your hamstring curls. Excuse me, I have hiccups. If you're at the gym, you'd be on a hamstring curl machine, or you could do stability ball hamstring curls, or medicine ball hamstring curls. All right, very simple circuit. Your lat pullovers are always 10 to 12 reps. Minimal change, right? Your hamstrings are always 20 reps. Minimal change unless you're changing the exercise. I do prefer the iso hamstring curls, but you could do wide squats or stiff-legged deadlifts. 5 rounds. Very rare we do such a static number circuit, which is why I always have our ladders and our pyramids, because you don't get bored of the circuit as much. Sunshine, I know you get bored all the time. So, very simple circuit. I didn't say go faster. Math alone says you're looking to be about 10 to 12 minutes. So if you were to time the circuit, Your hamstring curls is at least a minute because of the position. Your lat pullovers are 30 to 35 seconds. So between the two, it's like every 2 minutes you're starting the next round, give or take. Hopefully more take than give. 10 to 12 lat pullovers, 5 sets of them. You're focusing on your hamstrings, which we have done many times before. However, I never want people discouraged by not being able to do something. And part of that equation is the creativity and the tools around us. Keep your butt up. If you have a hard plastic thing like a frisbee or a lid to a container, you would have your butt up and you'd be sliding, but you would still be bending and straightening your legs. If you have a ball, a hard ball is going to be harder to balance on. A stability ball, we've talked about, you'd have a little more height. A stability ball would probably be the easiest between the balls. A hard ball or this medicine ball is kind of squishy, and so my feet are moving, so it takes a couple adjustments along the way. Isometric refers to the position. Your butt is up, core, glutes, lower back, and then you add the hamstring curl exercise. You bend and straighten your legs. But make sure you bend your legs so you can straighten your legs. 5 rounds, minimal change. Didn't say go faster. When this circuit is done, we're going to repeat those abs from earlier, and then you are all done with your workout. Big, big lengthening motion. These lat pullovers are long, reaching, rotating, and then you pull. There's the eccentric phase on that lat pullover. That reach is an eccentric motion. However, I don't want you to think eccentric exercise. It would be a lot more load, and it would be a little bit slower, and then you would need me there to help you get back up, or you got to get up and grab your weights. The eccentric exercise is way more focused on the lengthening component versus the shortening component. I really wouldn't do eccentric lat pullovers. I would do eccentric lat pull downs, and that's where you get it down there and you slowly let the bar go up, and remember it's got to be at least 5 seconds on the lengthening component. 5 rounds of lat pullovers. Some of you are probably in round 3, done round 3, or starting round 4. That's okay. The hamstrings, I just want to challenge you on the position. Make sure you stay in the position, and then you bend and straighten your legs. If you need to or want to mix it up, you do have your wide squats available and your stiff-legged deadlifts available. Always 20 on the hamstrings. Done right. You guys are right. If you do this right, you might really feel your hamstrings after today. Now, technically, stiff-legged deadlifts would make you more sore, but we've been doing them so much. If you were really used to the hamstring curl machine and you hadn't felt your hamstrings in a while, I would have you do the stiff-legged deadlifts. But we've been doing them so much, so trying to get those hamstring curls, you're probably going to feel these today. The quads, a little harder to get sore. Maybe you feel them later. The quads do take a little bit of load and motion. Quad machine, low narrow leg press, heavy narrow squats. 5 rounds. You're either in round 4, middle of round 4, starting round 5, give or take I never want you to go faster. If you are not doing hamstring curls, if you have to get off the ground and do wide squats or stiff-leggeds, that might have slowed you down a little bit. But in about a minute, minute and a half, we're going to start doing those same abs from earlier. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to stop doing what you're doing. I will be here to make sure you are getting them done. So 10 to 12 lat pullovers, 20 hamstrings, times 5. Lots and lots of motion. Both of them you need to work on the lengthening component of the exercise. Both of them are pulling exercises. And then the hamstrings have a harder position. The lat pullovers could be in a hard position. But I want you to lengthen and then I want you to contract. 5 rounds of pullovers and hamstrings. Again, most of you probably start middle of round 4, in around 4, maybe starting round 5, give or take. And if you do get done before I start doing the abs, feel free to start doing them. And I'll remind you of those exercises here in a second. Working hard, make sure you finish strong. If you are there and ready, 10 sit-ups, 10 scissors, take your time. 10 toe touches, 10 runners, take your time, I'll be here. 10 reverse crunches, 10 swimmers. I will remind you as we go. Do not go any faster. That would yield 200 abs core formally. You have the 5-minute wall sit challenge. You have the 3-minute plyometric work circuit. And you had your trap rows and your lat pullovers. Plenty of work today. If you're not there, that is okay. I will remind you. 10 sit-ups and 10 scissors. We're doing them slow. Now, I don't need the absolute perfect motion we did a couple weeks ago, but you really shouldn't skew too far away from it. You are not creating momentum. You are thinking about the vertical component of the exercise. You're going to make your abs do the work. Sometimes it requires a little more thought. 10 sit-ups and then 10 scissors. Don't be surprised if you feel your hamstrings, glutes, lower back stretching more. We use them more today, so they're activated. So you might be like, oh my gosh, I can feel my hamstrings. They're tight, and they're resisting the sit-up and the sit-up scissor. They're going to resist the toe touch and the runner. Those are called antagonistic muscles. The muscles that lengthen during an exercise are antagonistic muscles. They resist the motion. Sit-ups and scissors, toe touches and runners, reverse crunches and swimmers are your first 3. Please remember to breathe. Don't create momentum. Make sure your abs are doing the work. You're not just moving your body. 10 toe touches, 10 runners. Although these are formal abs, we're mixing in some core. We did a fair amount of core throughout the circuit with the isometric quads and the isometric hamstrings. 10 sit-ups, 10 scissors, 10 toe touches, 10 runners, 10 reverse crunches, 10 swimmers. Remember, your posterior muscles, hamstrings, glutes, and back have been worked a lot today. So don't be surprised if you feel them resisting the motion, resisting these exercises. That's a good thing. You want to think about what you have to do so you don't use the other muscles. Again, Sit-ups and scissors are probably in the books. Toe touches and runners, maybe in the books. Reverse crunches and swimmers, probably realistically what's going on. You'll have your V-ups and your Russian twists. And we'll have the Supermans and windshield wipers or rotational planks. Again, not all of these are abs. Some of these are core. Mobility of spine, activation of muscles around your spine. Those are your core muscles. V-ups and Russian twists. If you got those hamstrings rocking today, they are resisting this stuff. We did our trap rows, our lap pullovers. We have those isometric positions, so don't be surprised if you have some good lower back occurring. Now, it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. If you just feel like it's resisting the motion, cool. If you feel like it's like you have to use it for the motion, that's when you want to slow it down, maybe limit your motion a little bit. 10 V-ups and 10 Russian twists, and then you have your 10 Supermans and your 10 windshield wipers or rotational planks. It's really kind of funny how many people reached out and were like, how can you haven't trained like this before? I'm like, because you're on one part of your workout and somebody else on another part of the workout and somebody else in another part of the workout and somebody else is warming up and somebody else is leaving, and my style of training, everybody in different parts of the workout, and so you can't talk about the same exercise to everybody. So little did you know, sunshine, there's a little bit more to just time and numbers behind this brain of mine. Last part, if you are there, is your Supermans, and you can either do windshield wipers or rotational planks. Last part to your day, 200 abs core, but if you want to round up because of the isometric positions earlier, you did 400 reps of core and abs. You got your, 150 to 160 back reps. You got your 5-minute isometric, and you had your 3-minute plyometric. TGIF.